Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to the one, the only Hog Talk podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roaster Studios, part of the Believe in Buzz Radio Networks on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and we're also brought to you by Bet Online. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, football, and more. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite card and casino games, available to play right from your phone. Head over to the website or use your mobile device today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts, and we are joined via the Meadows Lumber Hotline by Courtney Mims of Pig Trail Nation. Courtney, I was going to have you come on and talk about the Florida game and your Gators, and a bomb was dropped on us, and I don't know who dropped the bomb today, but big bombshell was dropped today. Bombshell, confusion, bombshell. So just appreciate you for coming on today.
Yeah, I appreciate coming on, Porter. I honestly was also expecting to talk about the Florida Gators today, and when I dropped this bomb, I didn't really realize how big of a story I kind of waltzed into, really. I mean, I knew it was a big story, but man, I found out a lot today about the transfer portal that I didn't initially realize. I don't think a lot of coaches realized either.
And if you want to be honest, I don't think the player did, because if you look at it, you entered, you realize the portal did not technically open till March 18th. It's a 45-day window from March 18th, 45 days on. Nobody really knew about it because, honestly, Courtney, who expected 7 days before the season started, we're going to be talking about a 5-star home state kid entering the transfer portal?
You don't expect to be talking about it. And you honestly don't expect, when I got the text from my source that, coaches college basketball, they honestly didn't expect it either. They were very confused by it. Now, there is something to be said. And I know the transfer portal, everyone retweeted me back. Hey, the transfer portal doesn't open, like you said, until March after Selection Sunday. That's when it opens. But there's a loophole in everything. In everything in life, there's a loophole, right? And there is with the transfer portal as well. It doesn't magically go away. It doesn't magically close off to players. It doesn't magically up and disappear just because it's closed, right? Just because it's closed doesn't mean it disappears. So you still are technically allowed to enter the transfer portal when the window is closed. Now, what the NCAA can do then, or your school, is compliance offices can go and check to see if you're one of the cases, right? You are one of those cases that allows you to be in the transfer portal outside of the window, because there are other players in the transfer portal right this second that are trying to get exceptions to that rule, that are trying to transfer with these rules that can be, hey, this is an NCAA exception to her being in the transfer portal outside of the window. So again, everyone is correct that the transfer portal does not open officially until after Selection Sunday in March. But there are exceptions to the rule. And that's where we bring up the case of Jersey Wolfenbarger, right? That's where we bring up this whole story, because it looked like what she was doing, and this is only from what I can assume, that she put her name in at 11 a.m. yesterday. And that she was, hey, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put out there that coaches can contact me. I'm going to do all this. Didn't understand the rules fully, went to compliance and said, hey, can I be an exception to the rule? And compliance must have looked at it today, because we found out through other sources she had a meeting with compliance today. And compliance must have said, yeah, you're not an exception. There's no reason for you to be an exception.
It wasn't a coaching change or anything.
Exactly. Or any of the exceptions that the NCAA will allow. There's a long, long list I found out. So there's a long, long list.
All in all, whether people want to say, well, technically she's not in the portal, well, either or. She's either sitting out or she's not going to be in a Razorback uniform this year.
No, she will not be in a Razorback uniform.
If you want to technically, I mean, Courtney broke the story. She's the one that did the reporting. And it's those things about, yes, the transfer portal doesn't technically, but she is not coming back to Arkansas. But the thing is, if this had happened last year or 2 years ago, me personally, You've been by the team. You've been on the inside. 2 years ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, this has been a big deal. I don't
Yeah.
think it's as big of a deal as everybody's making it out to be. You automatically see 5-star. You automatically see home state kid. You also got to think about the roles these kids are playing. And with the depth this team has, there's been rebounding issues. So if you're trying to get kids to go down low, be post players, get more rebounds, and that just doesn't fit what they want to be or minutes, they have the choice to go wherever. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't know. You don't know as much as we cover the team. We don't know all the details,
Yeah.
but that's something to think about when we're talking about this case.
Absolutely. And you're right, Porter, on that. I think with the depth that Mike Neighbors has this year on the team, you look at that roster and you kind of go, if Jersey's not going to be utilized, right? If Jersey's not going to be utilized to what she believes she can be utilized for, then why not go somewhere else? Why not go ahead and go to a program that's going to go, we need a girl like you. We need a Jersey Wolfenbarger. Her career here at Arkansas hasn't panned out like I think she wanted it to. And so I think that it's not a bad situation for her to go and say, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else. And hey, I want to go play somewhere else. And obviously, I don't think she wanted to sit out the season. I just think maybe she came to that decision just a little too late. And obviously, compliance told her that. Obviously, that was something that they have discussed. But again, it's like you said, Porter, if you're not going to be utilized the way that you feel like you should be, there is nothing stopping you from going and going somewhere else. Do we think that Mike Neighbors' squad is going to crumble and burn because of this? No. I think he has plenty of talent this year. They talked about the depth going over to Europe. They talk about the depth in the preseason. I'm sure they're going to talk about the depth on Thursday. They have it. They have it this year. You have girls in the system like Michaela Daniels, Samara Spencer, Sailor Poffenbarger back for another year with Talia coming onto the squad. This is a stacked team. So I don't think they're in a bad situation. If it's any year where you have somebody who leaves like this a week before the season, it's this year to have it because you're not really in a super terrible spot without her.
Yeah. And you look at the in-state talent, you look at Chloe Clardy out of Conway, went to Stanford. Now, if everybody was like, man, if she would have got offered, if she could have come to Arkansas, you got to look at her side of it. She's a 5-star just like Tia.
Yeah.
If she would have come in alongside Talia, now you got, Carly Keats, you got Sam, you got Michaela, Talia, and Chloe all trying to be starters. I mean, sometimes it's like a crowded quarterback room. It's a crowded guard room. And sometimes it's best to go to. And I'm sorry, but if Stanford comes calling, who wouldn't go to Stanford right now? Who wouldn't go to a UConn or a Tennessee or South Carolina now? So,
or an LSU. Yeah.
exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. LSU. But we'll move on to the task at hand and the Florida Gators, the Florida game, which I know you are a big Florida fan. So I want to know, first of all, before we dive in, how hard is it to be both sides? Because I could imagine if Arkansas ever played Clemson in football, I'd be a nervous wreck. I would be horrible, So what is your mental state going into this week?
You're right. It is. I'm kind of a bit of a nervous wreck because I just have to hear from now two fan bases, right? I have a lot of Florida followers still from when I worked over there, when I was at the university, when I worked with the team, and when I worked in my first market over in Florida in Panama City as the sports director there. So I have a bunch of Florida fans who follow me. I also have a bunch of Arkansas fans. So I get to hear both sides of the spectrum, which is kind of interesting, but it's also kind of hard because you're a sounding board for all of this. Florida's not had the season that they wanted to have, and Arkansas's not had the season they wanted to have. So you're a sounding board for all of these different voices of like, oh my gosh, we hope Arkansas wins. We hope, Florida's going to beat us. And it's like, oh gosh, like you're almost like, this is too much. Stop. I can't be the sounding board for everybody. But I am personally a little nervous for the game just because I kind of see both situations, weirdly enough. I kind of see both sides where you have an Arkansas team that has a nice bye week. They've got rested up. They're ready to go. Kenny Guyton has a renewed sense of renewed sense of excitement around the offense. All you're hearing is that everybody is excited that Dan Enos is gone. All respect to him, but that he's gone and Kenny Guyton's come in, and there's kind of this like air of, yeah, we're going to go out and finish the season strong. We're going to win all 4 games. That's kind of the feeling you get when you think about that program. Then on the other side, you've got a Florida team that just got, whacked by Georgia, their rivals. They were supposed to keep it closer than that. They did not. They're getting everything from the fan base. They need a 6th win. This could be their 6th win to get them bowl eligible. There's a lot on the line for this Florida team, because if they lose to Arkansas, they have a gauntlet after that. They go to LSU, they go to Missouri, they face FSU. And I just don't know if they're going to get a win after that. No offense. No offense. I'm a Florida fan. I'm allowed to say that. I just don't know if they're going to get a win. So there's a lot on the line for both of these 2 teams in this game. So it's just going to be, I feel like it's setting up to be a weird dogfight, right? I feel like it's going to be just going back and forth. It's going to be one of those college football games that you kind of say, wow. I mean, Vegas even knows it, right? They have Florida as a 6.5 point favorite right now. And then that's, to me, by 1 touchdown, that's not a
exactly. That's what I was going to say. With it being in Florida, that's an even kill right there.
Mm-hmm.
How much pressure do you think is on Arkansas? You for 3-4 weeks, it's Enos. He's the problem. He's the problem. He's the problem. Now you get what you wanted. You've got a bye week, and you've got Guyton coming in, and again, all you hear is the players are taking to Guyton, fresh, so what pressure, because you got to win out or there's no bowl game.
Yeah.
So the tremendous amount of pressure when it comes to your program standards, but how much pressure do you think is on the team of the aspect they're riding all their chips and putting all their chips on Guyton?
I think there's a ton of pressure. I mean, this is the most pressure that they've felt throughout the season. I didn't think that could be possible, but it is going into this Florida game. And I had no idea we would be here when we got to this week, but here we are. You have to go and at least show out on offense. You have to have KJ Jefferson show up and show out, because if all the rumors were true, right? If all the rumors of that, the offense gave up, KJ Jefferson was annoyed at Enos, hey, there was too many plays, and now you've cut down the playbook by 30%. So if that's the case, if all those rumors are true, that this was how the offensive players felt, then you should see a different offense come Saturday, right? You should see that spark of life that Kenny Guyton has brought, that pushing out Dan Enos has done, that Pittman says, hey, we feel better this week. Everybody feels better. We should be able to see that on Saturday. So at least you want to see a very good offensive performance. I think you need to go out and win the game as well. That's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who still think Florida could win in this matchup, that still think Florida is the better team. I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. I think if KJ Jefferson can play at a high level, if the defense can show up like they did in the past 5 weeks, then I think they can go, honestly, the whole season, let's be honest, for the defense there. But if the defense can show up like they've done consistently all season long, I think Arkansas has a bit of an edge. And I hate to even mention this. I mentioned this on Ask Mike this week. But I don't think that because this is a different atmosphere for the Swamp, right? It's going to be a blackout. And the players are going to be wearing these all black uniforms for the first time in school history. And they're going to be honoring military members, which I think is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I just think it's a weird thing to have it at 11 a.m., to have it at noon in Eastern time in Gainesville. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be awful weather for all black. It really is. Sorry, guys. I don't care that it's November. It's not going to be fun to be wearing all black in that stadium. It's also the way the Swamp is. It's a bit of a bowl and it traps in that heat. Trust me. I know I've been there too many times. I've passed out a few times in that stadium because of heat. It's not going to be fun wearing all black. And so while I respect that they had this at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of people within Florida's camp that told me they expected this game to be a night game. They expected the SEC to honor that they were going to try and do this and make it a night game.
Well,
So
and you got a 2-6 team coming in against a 5-3 team, and you want us to give you a night game on top of that. I mean, do you want it to go to the ACC and be on the CW network, or bring back the Jefferson Pilot for 1 week? I mean, you can't. I
yeah,
mean, that's what you get when you gamble. And Arkansas, looking at coming into the season, thought this would be a toss-up win or a
yeah,
toss-up game. It's not so much, and I want to, end it on this point, and as we wrap up, is there's a lot of when we talk about the team, there's a lot of pressure on KJ
hmm
because look, you said you're wouldn't get along with Enos. We brought in Guyton, you got with, and they have cut down your offense by 30%, and Razorback fans hate the word 30%. Because that was a Chad Morris third. We got 30% of the playbook installed. So it's almost like, look, guy, you're the one with the NIL, you're the one that's carrying this team, and this is the time for everybody to improve. And I'm not saying you have to win this game, but if you're saying you need to up your standards to where you're an Iowa type offense where you could score touchdowns and not rely on field goals, that shows you where you're at as a program.
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. And what I was saying before is that you want your offense to show out. I think that's the main thing that Razorback fans want to see this week is the offense looking like a KJ Jefferson led offense, like an offense that has some key playmakers on it. Maybe Rocket Sanders returns. We don't know. Practice was closed this week. We can't see or tell you anything about how he's been looking. Sorry. Wish I could say that was not the case, but hopefully you get Rocket Sanders back. Maybe this is the week that your offense says, we're rejuvenated. We're coming off a week off. So many things have happened. And Florida fans know that. They have asked me this week. They have gone, we just have an eerie feeling about this game that while everyone wants to say bad things about Arkansas this year, we have an eerie feeling that this bye week, that all the changes could be so beneficial for them that they go into the swamp. They're mad. They're wanting to win the last 4 games of the season. They're wanting to get their first win in the swamp ever. That is so much pressure that the pressure might actually be good for KJ Jefferson, be good for that offense. I want to see them looking like the offense that we saw way before Danny knows that we saw last season. I'd like to see, I'd like to see the offense that we saw in the second half against Alabama too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see some of these things happen for this team because if they don't, and even if they don't win, but they show out on offense, I still think that's good for the rest of the season. That's a good push to get you on the right track. But you just want to see that. You want to see them looking like there's some signs of life there. Because in that Mississippi State game, they were dead. They were dead in the water.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get you out of here on this. And I know I got to do this just for S&G. Prediction, and would you dare predict against your Florida Gators?
I honestly have thought so long and hard about this, and it's so hard for me to give you an answer on who I want to, put my, hey, I think they'll win. I think that because I really do believe this will be a toss up. It's so hard for me to say one or the other one. It's hard for me to go against the Razorbacks. It's hard for me to go against Florida. Like, honestly, Porter, people are going to hate me when I say this. People are going to hate me when I say this. But I'm like, if either one win, I'm okay. I think there is something to be said that there's a lot in the line for both of these teams. So I could see it I'll give you a score prediction. I think it's going to be close. And I think I would say 35-32 or something like that, maybe.
I think even if Arkansas is on the losing end of that, we would take that because they scored over 30 points. So
there you go. And that's what I'm saying. So I think it's a toss up. I really can't give you who, and I know it's a cop out answer, but I'm really, it's the truth for you. I'm really okay. If Arkansas wins, I'm okay if Florida wins. So,
well, I'll tell you what, if I turn on the news tonight at 9 or 10 and you've given a prediction and a score mere hours after you said you plead the fifth, I'm going to pray for 3 more check marks against Florida. I'm putting 3 more check marks on Florida State's score.
Here, let me tell you this. if you could tell me that Florida would beat Florida State this year, but they would have to lose to Arkansas, I'd take
Oh,
it.
I tell yeah,
I'd take it. I say, you know what? Give it to me. That's fine. We'll pick Suey all day long.
well,
I'll tell you
Courtney,
that. And listen, I will have to give a game prediction on our game day show on Saturday morning when I'm in Gainesville. So if you guys are curious who I'm going to pick, that's a shameless plug to watch our Pig Trail
there
Nation
we
game
go.
day show, 10 a.m. on Saturday
10
morning.
a.m. on Saturday. There we go. Well, hey, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Good chopping it up with you. Good luck to, both sides of you might have a half and half Pig Trail shirt, Florida Gator shirt on. I don't what you got in store for that game,
You
but
know, I might wear a little orange and blue little hair tie or
there
something.
you
You
go.
know, I might they know I'll be on the sidelines for that one. So there's a bunch of Florida people that are already gonna heckle me and things like that. So Arkansas, look, I'm getting heckled by Florida fans, okay? All right. They don't accept me anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thank you again for coming on, and we'll wrap it up with that. And I know you got some stuff to do for Pig Trail Nation. So again, be looking on at 10 a.m. on Pig Trail Nation's pregame show for that score.
I
Thank you.
promise it'll be there.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Border.
Yes, gonna be a big game on Saturday. Of course, like I said last game against Mississippi State, I thought it was going to be when you put them against in the corner, you put them against the wall. About time somebody's going to fight back. I mean, all the chips are on the side. This is the game. What they wanted. You wanted change. Not only did you get change, and now you got to hurry up and fix things. You had a week to prepare. And I'm not saying they're guaranteed going to go out and win. I'm not expecting them to guaranteed go out and a win. But I want to see fight. I want to see fight on the offensive side. I want to see touchdowns. I want to see take some chances. I want to see, it's win out or there's no bowl game. So you got to take chances. That would be a huge. I know you got a tall task of going to Gainesville and winning in Gainesville. We all know that. But it would be a breath of fresh air. And I know that you're going to get some of those that says, well, I wish this would happen 2-3 weeks ago. Why are you it is what it is. We got to put the past behind us and move forward and salvage this season, get to the bowl eligible. And what better way would it be? I mean, yes, if you're at 2-6, but if you do win out and you beat Missouri, you got something to hang your hat on moving forward. You got something to sing KJ out moving forward and ending his career. You got something, if Rocket comes back and he gets to finish out his career at Arkansas in a Razorback uniform and go out with a bang. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. And it just seems like that's Arkansas's luck every single year when it comes to what could have, what ifs. I mean, I know there's been some big what ifs when it comes to this program, but it seems like every year those little what ifs, Catalan getting hurt, or, what if Rocket Sanders was, eligible all year, and would that have made a difference? What if, Dan Enos would have called different plays or, adapted? What if he would have, shrunk down the playbook a little bit? There's so many things we can talk about, but now it's time to, business. Let's come out. Let's go to work. Let's finish out this season strong and give these Razorback fans something to look forward to other than just basketball season, other than just baseball season, and doom and gloom for next year. You're not, because that's the thing. In the end, you're setting this team and this program up for failure next year because you're going to be more than likely starting a new quarterback. You got a new potentially OC, or Guyton might get promoted. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But you talk about the what ifs. There's so many what ifs that are going to be going into next year. At least try to salvage the most you can out of this year. And then tomorrow night, what we're going to do is we're going to have Coach Hale on. We were going to have him on last week, scheduling technical difficulties on that. We will have him on tomorrow night, and then we will touch on again the story about Jersey Wolfenbarger entering the portal out, not playing with the team. We'll have a little bit more information on that tomorrow. But for that will do it for this episode. Thank you again to Courtney Mims for coming on tonight. I know busy schedule with recording before flying out to Florida, so appreciate them always. coming on. And that will do it for this episode. We will catch you tomorrow night on the Weekly Women's Sports Report.